Previously on SME, I showed all these decals that are going to go on the body. So let's get started. So I was all ready to start applying decals, and I started studying the pictures, and I noticed that there's a few pieces that need to be painted black first. This inside of this scoop is black. This piece here needs to be black. Back here, some of this is carbon fiber, but I want to paint it black first. So all that'll be black, same thing. And for the front end, the decal sheet or the instructions really don't say, but if you continue this line all the way to here, I'll mask it, and this will be black below here. Really kind of disappointed in the instructions for not telling me that. If I hadn't looked at the pictures, I'd be masking decals later on. No good. So let me get to masking, and I'll show you when I'm done. A couple hours later, it's ready for black paint. Let's go to the paint booth and make it happen. I'm using some Tamiya X1 acrylic paint with Mr. Color leveling thinner, putting it on in light coats with a 0.2 needle, just nice and thin. I don't want any buildup, I don't want any texture, I just want to make it black. It took about 3 or 4 coats to get even coverage, but I'm really happy with it. That's the benefit of using thin paint with a 0.2 nozzle. You've got it has no texture, super thin, and it's ready for decals now. I fretted over how I was going to show you guys how I do the decals, so I decided to just show you just one decal. Put it in the water upside down, it keeps it from curling. Take it out of the water shortly after. I brush on some micro set to prepare it for the decal. Then pull the decal with a pair of tweezers just so that the decal is off the paper. And then pull the paper off against the model, kind of maneuver it around with your finger a little bit, make sure your finger's wet so your finger doesn't stick to it. Little micro saw. And wick up the excess liquid with a Q-tip, and then use this special little tool I got from Scale Riders. It's called a Decal Squeegee. And basically it's a foam roller that doesn't stick to the decals, and you can flatten out the decals with it. I really like this new tool. I think I'm going to use it a lot. Now that all the decals are done, I'm going to put a coat of semi-gloss clear on it. This is Mr. Color lacquer-based clear. I thinned it with 2 parts MLT with the paint, and then shot it in 1 mist coat to seal up all the decals. And then later on, I put 1 heavy coat of semi-gloss clear on it to level everything out. Now would be a real good time for you to hit that like button and hit the subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. So here we have it. 2 coats of semi-gloss clear, and it's the correct shading for the car, but I hate it. You can see the outlines of all the decals, and it just doesn't look right to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a gloss coat, and I'm going to polish it, and I don't care that it won't be correct, because I really want a shiny car instead of a dull car. So that's what I'm going to do. And this is so much more to my liking. 2 coats of 2K clear. I will cut and buff this and make it shine. Remember when I was doing the pre-fitting, I didn't want to smudge up the windows? Well, I'm going to smudge up the windows now to give them a test fit. Front window looks pretty good. Yeah, that's a good fit. Back window. That's a really good fit. Side windows, I know that these are going to be a problem. At least that's what I've heard. Yeah, it's tight. It's tight. You can tell there's a little bit of flex. So I think I'm going to take a little bit out of here, a little bit out of here, and here, and here, and it'll just drop right into place. This side's a bit tighter. Fits. But again, there's just a little bit of flex here. So I'll take a little bit of material out of it. Got a 320 grit sanding stick. It's been used, so it's not real sharp. This one's at an angle going this way. Just like color sanding, you can see the high and low spots. Those are low. I'll give it another test fit here. And no flex. So that's all that it needed. It was just a little bit of trim. It's not moving side to side at all. That's a better fit. Looks good. Looks good. No bowing anymore. This side's ready for paint too. All right, there's two ways you can tackle this. Put a piece of tape on here and then take a toothpick and run around the edges. Some people would take a marker and mark it, take the tape off, tape it, and then reapply the tape. I'm gonna do the more risky one, and I'm gonna use a knife and cut the tape right on the window. The only thing that you're really at risk at is if your line is off, but otherwise you're gonna get a nice clean cut, and you don't have to worry about bleed through. Notice the angle that I'm cutting this at. I want it right in the corner. I'm certainly not going to bore you with cutting this whole thing, but you get the gist. All right, it's been a little while later. I taped both the inside and outside of these windows. Windshield, this front end gets black, and then the back of the window. And here's the front, the side and back windows. In the review video, I claimed that the wipers were kind of thick. What I did is I sanded down the edge to make them a little thinner, and then cut so that you can see through that. That was all screwed together. Same here. I think these look a lot better now. What I did is I bent the photo etched ones, and I'm not really satisfied with the thinness of it. It's photo etched, and sometimes photo etched pieces just don't look right. Here's the blade. Pick up the blade. Here's the wiper blade, and it's just so thin. I don't think it looks realistic for a wiper blade, so I decided to modify the kit pieces instead. And here are the finished windows. I think they look pretty good. No mistakes, I'm happy with them. Thank you for joining me for another episode. Next episode, I will cut and buff this, make it shine, decal the windows. There's carbon decals that need to go on here, as well as stuff across the top of the windshield. And then I will disassemble and start all the carbon fiber for the chassis. I don't know how far I'll get, but we'll see. Until then, I'll see you guys next time.